Hi, welcome to Senior Notebook. My name is Candi Reed, a member of the production team, and my guest today is Rabbi Tom Samuels, who's the rabbi at Congregation Koi and me. I hope I said that right.
Beautiful, perfect.
Thanks for visiting us today, Rabbi, and you're going to share with us about the celebration of Hanukkah.
Yes.
Which is a Jewish celebration during the winter months.
Yes.
So yeah, well,
thank you
tell us what Hanukkah is all about.
Thank you so much for being curious and asking. It's a beautiful, beautiful holiday.
Yeah.
And it happens around this time near the solstice. Mm-hmm. And it's about starting next week, depending upon each year it falls on a different time because the Jewish calendar follows both the solar, Gregorian, and the lunar, the moon.
Okay.
So it gets a little confusing, but it's going to start next week.
Okay.
And for 8 consecutive nights, we light what's called the menorah or the Chanukiah. It's a candelabra.
Okay, I've seen that.
And it's beautiful. And some of them are huge, most of them are small.
Yeah.
The tradition is to light a wick immersed in oil.
Okay.
Now that got complicated, so now we just buy the birthday candles and put them in.
Okay.
And each night we sing and we eat all these incredible foods, special foods for Hanukkah.
Special foods?
Well, there's foods from Jews who came from Eastern Europe.
Okay.
There's from Western Europe. Most Jews come from the Arab countries. Most Jews are Arabs.
Okay.
So the Arab foods, Yemenite foods for Hanukkah, to die for.
Wow.
Moroccan, all Indian. Lots of Jews from India, from that area. We're talking going back, over the course of 3,000 years.
Absolutely.
And so wonderful foods, and we sing wonderful songs, and the kids have a lot of fun, and they get gifts.
Oh, they do.
Oh, yeah. They get 8 days, eight nights of gifts. And the community comes together and we light a light. Not a big light, but a little light. Okay. In the middle of the winter, the darkness, the monopoly of darkness, we bring a little light into the world.
Okay.
And it's so beautiful because in the Jewish tradition, we don't believe that we can create perfection, utopia, nirvana, heaven on earth. It's not possible.
That's not happening.
We can try, though, and we have to try.
We can strive for that.
We can strive for it.
Yes.
And so what we do is we have sort of a humility, realizing we really can't do it, but let's do the best that we can.
That's true.
So we light a little light, just a little light. Mm-hmm. And everybody lights a little bit of light. And they bring a little warmth to each other slowly. And there's a little bit of peace and love.
Right.
In the middle of the winter, when it's the darkest and the coldest. And that's Hanukkah.
Yeah, that's Hanukkah.
It's so beautiful.
Oh, wow. That is beautiful, particularly the light, because I've often spoken to people about Hanukkah, and they say, oh, yeah, that's the Festival of Lights. So I'm glad that you shared that with us, that just lighting a candle dispersed the darkness.
Dispersed the darkness. Yeah. And it's an old tradition, and it goes back, there was a whole story around with the ancient Greeks.
Okay.
So somewhere around 156 actually, but 200 BCE, before the Common Era.
Okay.
So there's Alexander the Great, 300.
Okay.
He dies, and then his empire is fractionalized, and everybody's killing and fighting each other. The only thing they agreed upon, 200 BCE, was they hated the Jews. So they got together to kill the Jews. And the Jews stood up and said, no.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to, we're proud people. Yep. And we're here, we have a special mission in the world to breathe in Hebrew, or Legoyim. Can you say that? Or Legoyim.
Legoyim.
Which means in English, a light unto the nations. You've
say
heard
that again?
Or means light.
A light.
The goyim, to the nations, to the world.
Goyim.
And so we bring a light. And we said, you can persecute us. And by the way, if you're persecuting us, you're persecuting others. Yeah. You can force us into your religion, which the Greeks were trying to do. You can make our culture and practices illegal, which the Greeks did.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
And we say, You can try all that, but we're going to light a candle.
Yep. Well, that's the beginning of a little bit about Hanukkah and the Festival of Lights, and we'll be right back to talk a little bit more about why this tradition has carried on throughout the centuries.
The Senior Notebook will return in a moment. We now return to the Senior Notebook on WENY.
Hi, we're back here with Rabbi Tom Samuels, who's going to share a little bit about the history of Hanukkah, how it actually began.
So around before the Common Era, about 150 years before the Common Era,
Okay.
the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, controlled the whole region there.
Okay.
That whole region, the Maghreb, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Egypt, the whole area.
Yeah.
And at that time, the Jews, the Israelites, had a temple,
Okay.
a holy temple
Right.
in Jerusalem
Right.
at the time. And the Greeks, at that, there was a period of time where they allowed the Jews and all their subjects to practice whatever religion they wanted, as long as you were being a good Greek citizen. That's all.
Okay.
Pay your taxes, stop at a red light. As long as you're doing that, you can practice. But then things changed. A new Greek leader came up after Alexander, and he was a brutal dictator. And he said the Jews can't practice their religion, and went to the temple, which was a temple to, the Christians say, Yahweh or Jehovah.
Okay.
And they would make sacrifices to Yahweh or Jehovah. Said you cannot do that. Not only that, we're going to bring a pig to the altar. Now, a pig, a swine, is prohibited in the Hebrew Scripture.
Right.
So they wanted to they wanted to eradicate Judaism and
desecrate
really
the temple.
And desecrate, because you desecrate the temple, it's really a way to show who's in charge now, who's the boss.
Oh, I see.
Well, there was a group of Jews called the Maccabees.
Okay.
And you heard about the Maccabees.
I have.
And the Maccabees were a small group of subsistent farmers. And they said, that's not right. We're going to go and fight the Greeks. But how could they? The Greek was the strongest army and empire in the world at the time. And they were a few farmers with some spears and stones. Well, one thing led to another, a lot of bravery and a lot of really good luck. And they were able to conquer the Greeks and reclaim the temple, clean it up, get rid of the pig in the altar, clean it up, and start to reclaim and start to practice their Jewish Israelite practice with the sacrifices.
Okay.
So the rabbis invented a story, because the story really that goes, and it's in the book of Maccabees 1 and 2, was a military victory. And they were very strong, and they were fought with bravery. And the rabbis want to play that down.
Okay.
Because when the rabbis are writing about this, it's under the tyranny of the Romans. The Romans replaced the Greeks. And the Romans were tyrants, and the Romans were killing any of the Israelites and the Jews who also wanted to practice their religion.
Okay. So they created
a story.
A story about the oil.
The oil.
Okay.
And the story of the oil is, and it's a story that's it's fun, it's nice, and it's sweet. It's not historical, but it's nice. And the story is that when the Maccabees got the temple, they needed oil, special oil, to light the candelabra that was in the temple. And the oil that they had to be pure oil that was blessed by the priests and wasn't defiled by the Greeks.
Right.
Well, miraculously, they found one vial of oil that happened to have the seal of the priests around it that hadn't been desecrated somehow. They used that day one, and lo and behold, magically, it lasted for 8 consecutive nights.
So that's why Hanukkah is celebrated 8 nights in a row.
So
one of the reasons.
That's a reason that's become part of the folklore.
Okay. Okay.
Right. And it's a nice story. And because of that, with the oil, we have all these fried foods that we eat. to remember the oil. And you're welcome to come and eat the fried food. We're going to have a thing here Friday night.
And have gifts.
Oh,
And
gifts.
games.
It's games and songs. And like I said, you gotta eat.
Yeah.
So save up your calories.
Yeah. For 2023, it begins in December the 7th this year. Is
Yes,
that correct?
so we'll start Thursday night
Thursday
and 8
night.
consecutive nights every night.
All right.
We'll light it and sing and eat.
All right. Wow.
Everybody's welcome.
That's wonderful. Thanks for sharing the history with us. I think it's so important to know how it began and why. But interesting enough, I think that this is the Festival of Light and that you light, everyone just light one candle.
Light a candle.
What a wonderful world this would be.
Thank you.
Yes. And thank you for joining us.
Oh my gosh,
wonderful,
what a
wonderful
pleasure, what a
having you
blessing.
here. Yes, you definitely are a
Amen.
blessing.